What's up, guys? Welcome back to Be Better Podcast, episode 51, with a good friend of mine, Patrick Bateman. Patrick, how's it going?
Very well, thank you. Just trying to get a reservation at the moment for tonight. Not having much luck with it so far, but
Are you
yeah,
thinking Dorsia?
nobody goes there anymore. No, Bacardia.
Ah, right.
I didn't even try to get a reservation at Dorset. So,
My God.
mm,
I love it, man. I love it. So walk me through this, right? So obviously, you're Patrick Bateman, right? From one of the greatest movies of all time, one of the greatest cult fan fiction movies of all time, American Psycho, came out in 2000. Kind of walk me through taking on this role and how you've mastered it.
one of the best novels as well, don't forget.
Very true. Very true.
Well, I was working in England in a bar 20 years ago almost. Somebody said to me, "Well, you look a lot like Christian Bale." And I wasn't familiar with the actor because, well, I wasn't familiar with the film. And so I was familiar with the actor because I'd seen Batman Begins, and I think Batman, the second movie, The Dark Knight, was in production. Right.
Sure.
So somebody said, you look like Christian Bale in American Psycho. I said, "What's this film?" So I watched it and I said, "Okay, right, seen that." And I read the book, and that really affected me. I was trying to make reservations with friends and so on, and trying to get a job as a stockbroker, but that never happened. So yeah, so
Really, that's interesting. So you kind of even on your personal side, before you went into knowing that, hey, I kind of resemble this person, you're kind of already following that path of being in the corporate world, big, tall buildings and big cities kind of atmosphere.
yeah, kind of to an extent, sure. Um, my city is not even a city; it's Reading. It's it's basically a town, but it's like a city, but it doesn't have town status. It's the biggest town in the UK. You might know it for Ricky Gervais coming from here, and
Sure.
Kate Winslet, or the Reading Festival. Nirvana played twice.
Of
It was a
course.
lamp. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes good sense. So walk me through. So obviously you have the novel there, right? So I'm assuming you've read the novel, way back when. What came first for you, the novel or did you see the film?
No, it was the film, and then I picked the book up, and I picked up Bruce Springsteen's greatest hits because in the book he mentions he's interviewed on the streets, and somebody asks him, what do you think the happiest song ever is, and he mentions a song by Bruce Springsteen. He says "Brilliant Disguise," which is about not trusting, about a man that doesn't trust his spouse, she doesn't trust him. It's is it you, or is it just a brilliant disguise?
Hmm.
And so I'd read the book, I picked up the Bruce Springsteen CD, and it really had a big impact on me. Changed the music I listened to as well, in fact. And after that, I left it alone for a long time. I didn't go back to it. I do the occasional impression here and there, but yeah, that was 2008, I think, and yeah, I just left it alone. Mm.
So when did this kind of resemble into your, what you do now as far as, being an impersonator? I mean, obviously the best I've ever seen, but you're spot on. So, I mean, how did that correlate and when did that come about as far as you doing that on a regular basis? Doing that
Uh,
professionally, I should say.
October, I guess. I started the Masked Vagabond page on Instagram in October, so it's been about 8 months, and it's just gone from strength to strength. It was only about 3 or 4 weeks ago. A video went viral, 2.5 million views of me walking down the River Thames in Henley. That went viral, and up until that point, I didn't even have 2,000 followers. Now it's almost 20,000, and it's just going from strength to strength, and it's it's just really good. It's giving me a big boost.
Yeah, I mean, that's so surprising to hear. I would have never assumed that it was so recent because one, obviously the following you have and everything. I mean, your page is fantastic. I'm looking at it now. I mean, 19.4 thousand followers, almost 20K. I mean, remarkable, right? And just the amount of content you've been able to create as well in such that time is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, well, I love doing it. It's I'm in touch with humanity.
Yeah. What's also very surprising, Patrick, is the fact that you're able to really take on such a complex character like him and such a short time as well and really make it, I mean, just you're making it come to life, right? I mean, I've been a big fan of the movie since I saw it my first time, probably in 2010. I was in high school. And I've really related to Patrick Bateman on a couple of different platforms, not the psychopathic one, but the fact that he views people kind of how I view people sometimes. So it's
Mm.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I've really related to him. But to see somebody like yourself be able to really give me more of what you're doing, you're extending the story, right? I mean, because like I've always wanted to see a second one. I've always wanted to see kind of more information about what happens at the end. I know the book and the
Yeah,
novel and the film does that for a reason, but you're able
yeah,
to kind of expand that universe a little bit more and more for us.
yeah. I think that's what a lot of people actually really enjoy as well. They love to see, where's Patrick Bateman after the film, and I'm a little bit older than he is in the movie, so it's sort of like, did he go to London? Was he, searching for Paul Allen? As Harold Carnes told him, it's simply not possible. Why is it not possible? Just not. Why not, you stupid bastard? Did he go to London? Did he, search for Paul Allen? I think that's what a lot of people actually really enjoy. They like to see outside of the movie, what happens afterwards, and I
Yeah,
really enjoy doing that and expanding on it in a comedic kind of way. But also, I like to do the serious acting as well. When he's Harold is Bateman, Patrick Bateman. Listen, you're my lawyer, so I think you should know. That kind of stuff. The serious, the more closer to the film. But what I do is mostly I do the comedy side. Put Patrick Bateman in a situation. How what I really love about the film is his relationship with Lewis Carruthers and how much he hates him.
yeah.
So often I'll have a friend of mine recording, and I'll address him as Lewis, and just the real hatred, that he kind of expresses through a look or a word. You compliment was sufficient, Lewis, that kind of thing. So it's just, for me, it's a laugh riot. It's really fun.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I've watched a lot of expanded videos on YouTube, and I've read a lot of Reddit threads and things about the movie as well. But how complex that it is developed, and I don't necessarily know if that's how the director or the writer even intended it to be initially. But the way that it's just spun in so many different directions, it's such a complex and unique film in different regards. Like Lewis pretty much is being the embodiment of everything he despises, right? I mean, it's just he's the epitome of the common man in his work field that he just cannot stand on any platform. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? And
and
then
I think that it's he hates him because he represents something that Patrick really is. He sees Lewis as being something weak, a part of himself, his real self. He's very narcissistic and very, he's not a psychopath at all, in my opinion. He's a narcissist with perhaps schizophrenia, and he sees Lewis as this weak person that he really is, and so he, you know, really hates that. He recognizes that in himself on a subconscious level. And I don't have a degree in psychology or anything like that. I'm just, from what I've read, this is just my own opinion of the character. But I think he sees that weakness in Lewis, and he sees it in himself as well. It's a real mirror. Lewis Carruthers is a bit of a mirror to Patrick Bateman, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree, Patrick. I mean, the reality is too. I when you first get through the first, I'd say 60% of the film, you're like, wow, this guy really is a psychopath, right? I mean, he's committed a
Yeah.
few murders at that point. It's really not till the ATM scene, whenever it says "feed me a cat,"
Yeah.
that you
Mm.
realize, oh shit, maybe this is
Yeah.
schizophrenia or some other
Yeah.
personality disorder or some other mental
Mm.
delusion that he has that really expands upon the character as well.
Absolutely. That's what that's really what I think. It's, psychopaths are not so insecure and, so afraid of judgment from others. They're very cold, calculated killers. He has these grandiose fantasies that he's going around killing Paul Allen for having a better business card, or, you know, dropping a chainsaw down a flight of stairs that lands directly on a woman. And, it's just like, how would he? But if, something I actually noticed last night when I was watching the movie again was when he's taking out the Jean Paul Gaultier overnight bag with Paul Allen's body inside,
Hmm.
there's no blood trail. Then, when we're watching him walk away, so he's away from the camera, there's no blood trail. But then the camera is face on, and then you can see the blood. And I don't think that's a mistake at all. I don't think that is. I think that's from Patrick's perspective. There is blood. He walks past the Nikon, and he just looks up, doesn't notice any blood. There's nothing. There's no trail of blood outside either. So I think that's another clue that it's all in his noggin.
No, for sure. I like that perspective, because some of it's going to be shot through his eyes, which we obviously he would see the blood because that's his reality, versus maybe the
Mm.
real reality of the average person that's not in his mental state is not seeing it one way. One way I've also thought about it too, and this is just my opinion. Once again, I don't have any degree of any film critic or psychology by any means, but when I watch the film, I think about, well, what if a possibility in a world where all these things are really happening and Patrick really is committing these atrocities, but people are the point of the movie is people are so self-centered and materialistic that Lewis, for example, is only seeing the name of the brand of the overnight bag. He's not seeing the blood. He's not seeing the outline of a body because it just,
Absolutely.
people are
Yeah.
so caught up in their own self. That's always a thought that I've had as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's definitely a great point. And I think that you're absolutely right in saying that. But I think that that comes second to the big question of does it happen or not. I think that's a good, it's a great. Bret Easton Ellis did a really good job on this book, and it's a very good commentary on the vapid sort of self-absorbed yuppie culture of the 1980s Wall Street.
Yeah.
Greed and the people mistaking other people because everyone's the same. Everybody wants to fit in, and everybody's the same. Nobody has a soul. There's no character. There's just fitting in, and it's I completely agree with that sort of subtext completely. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, and once again, it's just kudos to the whole team as far as the director goes, obviously the author, and then even the people that help make the film, like the physical people on the side, creating different scenes, things of that nature. It's such a complex beast, and you can't say that, especially not nowadays. Not any films are not nearly as complex, but it's really just interesting how there's so many different kind of multiverses of theories when it comes to the movie and the concept of American Psycho. I mean, it's just a remarkable piece of culture, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Going forward with that as well, my man, just I gotta ask, like, you fit the part so well, as Patrick would say, you're definitely fitting in. Where did you go as far as acquiring all this? I mean, obviously your facial features, you look like them anyways, but like even from your hair all the way down to the suits, the style of shirt you're wearing is not a common style now. That is a mid to late 80s business style. Even the phone that you have, the brick phone. Walk me through how you acquired all these and how you mastered it so quickly.
Well, we call them secondhand shops or charity shops. You call them thrift stores.
Sure.
So I've always shopped in them because you never know what you might find in there. It's really like a treasure trove. So I'm always, in fact, I was out today in Henley looking in the thrift stores, and I found a Bret Easton Ellis, The Informers. I haven't read that one. I've read Less Than Zero and Glamorama, and American Psycho, of course. But you never know what you might find in these secondhand shops, and it's just for as an actor, creating content online. It's so good. Also, online shopping as well, of course. You want to fake blood, that type of thing. It's always good. Amazon is a real go-to for me with the fake axe and the raincoat as well. The raincoat, the transparent raincoat. And I've looked for a better quality one, but I can't actually find. Can't actually find a better one than I found on Amazon. But yeah, so secondhand stores and Amazon. Really
That
good.
makes sense. Is that where you found the phone as well?
No, the phone I found in Wallingford, which is in Oxfordshire, or Oxfordshire, as we say, and
Hmm.
it's very tinny. It's not real. You can see that the buttons aren't real.
Yeah. Oh my
It's just
God.
yeah. It's in fact I dropped it today. I did a video in Henley, walking along in a white suit, very Miami Vice, very a cream colored suit, and I dropped the phone. It made a any sound, so I was making a few jokes there on the Instagram with people that were commenting.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, because a lot of your content too, like, it is, like you said, comedic side of it, right? But, a lot of it's pretty intricate, man. Like, I've seen you in the raincoat. I've seen you with the fake blood. Whenever people see that in public, are they stopping you and saying things? Are people understanding the references typically or no? They're just like, what's this crazy guy doing?
Well, I was outside of the Houses of Parliament, Big Ben,
Yeah.
just the other day, I think about a week ago. and I had the raincoat on and the blood around it here, and I was making a video. Nobody really looks. Nobody cares. I think just want to keep themselves to themselves. Also, who the hell is going to dress up as a psychopath and walk around? Even if they recognize the character, there. But I do. I got somebody come up to me today, and they said, "Hey, you were the masked vagabond," a guy called Adam, and we'd actually chatted on Instagram. And I did say to him, if you do see me again, come up and say hi because I do enjoy that. It's great. Um, but yeah, I don't think that they'd want to come up and say hi if they thought I was actually a lunatic, because who would dress up as a psychopath and go walking around London?
Fair enough. I do say that I think if you were in New York City, doing this, I got a feeling a lot more people would get the references, and I'm you probably get a decent crowd around you, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never actually been to the States, so
Oh wow.
that's something I'm planning on doing soon. Yeah, I've been talking to not Tom Cruise, a fantastic impersonator of Tom Cruise. He's just phenomenal. And in the book, of course, there is a scene with them in the elevator when Pat says to Tom, "I loved you in that film. What was it, Bartender? Cocktail." It's fantastic. So he's in LA. So I'm planning on going to New York and then LA to to do some more content. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
Growing, as an Englishman, I've always watched films, bands. My favorite bands are American. Growing up, it was Nirvana, Prince, Pearl Jam, Pixies, and with film as well. It's just watching Americans every day, listening to them every day, but never actually being in the country. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as content for you and the character that you embody, I mean, New York City is going to be just a mecca for you. I mean, just the scenery and alone, just the landscape, it's going to allow you to really make him come out of his element. I mean, it's. I can't wait till you go, my friend. If you can, please. I don't live in New York, obviously, but whenever you do go, send me a message, please, because I will just be on the edge of my seat waiting for you to create content for it. I mean, it's gonna be idea. The
Yeah,
building that he lives in is a real building.
right.
And I had a client of mine in my past venture that I did, a client of mine lived in that building. So
Wow. Yeah.
it's
The
yeah,
American
so
Gardens building.
American Gardens building. I think it's called something different now, but that's what it's referenced to.
Okay.
I think it's called just American Towers now, if I'm not mistaken. But it's the
Oh.
same. At one point, I guess it was called that, and then it changed names. It's changed
Mm.
ownership or whatever, something like that. But I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's in the Lower East Side, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Um, but me and him talked about it. But anyway, so
Yeah, it's really cool.
yeah, no doubt.
Have to
So
go there.
yeah, you have to. I mean, it's a non-negotiable for you, I guess,
Yeah.
right? So,
So
oh my God, I love it, man. So, getting back to the film, obviously, because that's primarily my feel for it. It's gonna be hard to, I know, but if you could, what is your favorite scene of the film?
well, I think it's just a perfect movie. I think Mary Harron did such an amazing job bringing the book to the screen. It's so hard to pick one. I always say it's just a perfect film because every shot, every line is just so, as immaculate as Patrick's, suit and manicure and skincare regime. It's just so perfect. But there are lines in it that I just really love. Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it. When he's having his breakdown on the phone and making his confession to Harold Carnes is just perfect. You got the helicopter outside just circling the building. And I love the moment as well when he looks across to the park in Paul Allen's apartment, and he's struck with a moment of sheer terror as he realizes that Paul Allen's apartment overlooks the park and is obviously more expensive than mine. It's just these really melodramatic lines. And when they get to a spas as well, I'm on the verge of tears when we get to a spas, as I don't think we'll have a table, but we do. And the relief washes over me like a giant wave. That's just, fantastic. And of course, I think, the Huey Lewis and the news scene is, they did such a great job there as well. But Yeah, it's not my favorite, but there are just so many great lines. And no, Lewis, it's not me, Lewis.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like every scene was just pieced together almost like a masterpiece, right? I mean, it was just like the recipe for success over and over and over again. There's not really any part of the movie, there's some films, for example, like even a prime golden film like Forrest Gump, right? There's still scenes that you can just gloss over because they're not that big of a deal. But I mean,
Mm,
in the film, like everything just plays off each other. It's all relevant. It's all just kind of
yeah,
winding together. One of my favorite, I should say, three sets of scenes, obviously, and you know where I'm going with this, is when he meets with Detective Donald Kimball.
yeah,
Um, the first one has its own kind of mode to it. The second one has its own mode to it, and the third one
mm,
has its own mode to it, based on he thinks he did it, he doesn't
yeah,
think he did it, and then he knows he did it versus that one, right? So the William Dafoe's character in that regard kind of plays the hero to the anti-hero. You know what I mean? Like the
mm,
I gotcha. And just how exquisite the dialogue is between both of them in regards to the first interaction, the second interaction, the third interaction. It just really amplifies Patrick's mental state, in my opinion, because obviously, the first one he's very relaxed, a little nervous in the middle, but then kind of opens up. I'm not being cross-examined, am I? All that good stuff, right? And then, and it just keeps
Hope I'm not
going.
being cross-examined here. Do you feel that way?
Do you feel that way?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So, and even talking about the Yale thing, right? Just like so many different deflections, so many
It's so,
different deflections.
so ridiculous. Yeah,
Oh my goodness, yeah, just
yeah.
incredible.
It's just fantastic. Yeah, he did such a great job. I actually did a scene with Henry Hill, who's he's on TikTok and Instagram as well. We met for the first time 5 minutes before we filmed it as well in Paddington, central London, and we just sat outside of a Nando's, which is like a Portuguese kind of chicken restaurant, and we just sat there. And I said to him, "Listen, Kimball, I'm really sorry, but I don't think I can get you in the doors yet." And then he used the line from Spider-Man. He said, "Well, you can't do it to me." And then he got up and he went, "You know how much I sacrificed?" And I said, "Listen, Kimball, I gotta go. I gotta return some videotapes." I just ran off down the road. It was a laugh riot. So funny. But yeah, no, that I don't think they could have got a better actor than Willem Dafoe for that part. He was just fantastic. And I think that they based him on the detective in Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. I haven't read that book for 16 years, but it left a real sort of mark on me. And they actually based Columbo on the detective from Crime and Punishment, who chases Raskolnikov, the protagonist, around,
Yeah.
and he never knows if the detective knows he's done it or not. So I think that might have been an aspect of his character. I think that might have been some inspiration.
So dynamic. I mean, even I'm just reflecting upon the movie here. Even his friends that he hangs around with. I mean, not Paul Allen, but the other ones that like the other guys that are only mentioned a couple times, right? Um,
Hmm.
Especially
McDermott, yeah, yeah,
McDermott. But not even during the business card scene. Just when they're in the lounge smoking cigars and they're making comments and stuff. Like they're
yeah,
all they're all so similar, right? And it really goes back to the point earlier about trying to fit in, right? Because like they're all trying to fit in, but they're all the same person. So it's almost you can only shove a square peg into a hole so many times, right?
mm,
It's very unique in that regard. They're all the same person, just maybe a different suit for the day. But it's just another
yeah,
dynamic element to the whole film. It's incredible by any means.
yeah, absolutely. And I love Bryce when they're in the nightclub and he's dancing. I don't know if you remember that scene very early on. New Order of playing True Faith, and Bryce is dancing like crazy. It's so funny.
The bathroom scene for that one's always the best too. They don't have a
Yeah.
good bathroom to do blow in.
Could
Like,
you keep it down? I'm trying to do drugs in here.
oh my god. Oh my god, what an incredible thing! So, I mean, I know we're obviously pressed for time here as well. I want to let you get back to doing what Patrick does best, right? So,
Gotta return some videotapes.
yeah. Oh my
This
god.
one actually has the Blockbuster sticker on it as well.
I would cherish that for the rest of my life.
Very cool. Very cool, Bateman. But that's not.
Absolutely. Well, my friend, I want to appreciate you and thank you again for joining me on here. I mean, once again, I'm able to interview one of my favorite characters of any film ever. It means the world to me that you're able to meet with me on such short notice, too. So, guys, if you're out there and you made it this far, please go follow my friend. It's the Masked Vagabond on Instagram. Obviously, quality content. If you're a big film buff like I am when it comes to this genre, especially American Psycho, just a treasure trove of information and as well as content there. 10 out of 10. I mean, you guys can see it for yourself. I'm talking to the real Patrick Bateman, and I'm still alive to tell the tale. So if you made it this far, guys, do what you do best. Like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever you need to do. If not, just try to be a little better. Thanks, guys.
We're not through yet. Just joking. Great. Thanks so much, Nate. Thank you.
Of course, brother. Of course.
Okay.